Hello friends, David Jacobs, your friendly neighborhood voice actor. Today, let's talk about the 4 hard truths of voiceover. This is what I start everybody with if they come to me and ask, how do I get into voiceover? Should I get into voiceover? How do I do it? And I say, hold on. Just hold the phone. We're not going to talk about microphones and software or anything at all. We're going to start with the 4 hard truths, because these are truths that you need to know and understand and accept. If you cannot accept these truths, do not go any further. You cannot go any further. You are probably wasting your time and your money. So what are they? Well, number 1, it's harder than you think. Voiceover is really, really hard, and many people will tell you this. And it is really hard, but you know what? It's even harder than that. However hard you think it is, double it. It's harder than you think. It's harder than you expect. It's really hard. Okay? Number 2, it's going to take a long time. Longer than you want. Longer than you're probably comfortable with. As in years. Years. 3 to 5 to maybe start getting some real honest-to-God traction. I know, you don't want to hear this. This isn't a very nice message. This is much, much harder than I expect it to be, and I'm not going to even be successful for 3 to 5 years. But there's more. You're also not going to make a great deal of money very quickly. You may make a little bit here and there in year 2 or 3 or whatever, but you're not really going to make significant income for potentially years. Some people get lucky. Some people get a break. But for the vast majority of people, it can take years before you make any kind of substantial income. I told you these are hard truths. Okay? And 4th, it's going to require investment. So not only are you not going to make a great deal of money, but you're going to have to spend money. Again, more than you want to spend. More than you expect to spend. I was listening to Mark Scott, one of the great marketing coaches in the industry, and he was talking on a podcast about how much it might actually cost to get a voiceover career going. And I was so angry. I was swearing at him through the podcast because I could not believe what he was saying. It was ridiculous, outrageous. How could you possibly have to spend that much money? Who has that kind of money? I was so angry. But now, 2 years in, he was right. He was very, very correct. It requires more money than you're going to want to spend. More money than you're comfortable with. Because it's not the equipment, by the way. It has nothing to do with the microphone or the interface or even the computer. What equipment costs aren't the problem when you're getting started. But you can get by with less expensive equipment pretty easily. But what's going to cost you money that you cannot scrimp on is coaching. Good professional coaching. It's expensive. And producing a professional demo is very expensive. And that's just the way it is. But without those 2 things, you just aren't going to make it. You're not taking it seriously. If this is some sort of a hobby for you, or I'm just knocking around, that's a different thing. I'm talking about you're taking this very, very seriously. You want this to be an absolute career that provides your primary income. That's what I'm talking about. You need demos, and more than one. You probably need 2, maybe even 3, depending on the genres you're going for. Demos are really expensive. Coaching, very expensive. But without it, you just aren't going to succeed. And that's the real cost up front for the newcomer. It's not the equipment. That's nothing. You can get by with a microphone that costs $125 easily. You can find a closet in your house and go find pillows and blankets and hang them around and have a very nice booth for very little money. It's the coaching. So to go over them one more time. The 4 hard truths of voiceover. Hard. Harder than you think, harder than you expect. Going to take a long time. Longer than you expect and longer than you would like. Not going to make a great deal of money for a very, very long time. And to make that worse, it requires a significant investment. Now, that doesn't mean you've got to spend that investment all at once, okay? You don't have to show up with all that money all on day one. You can parcel this out, and it just depends on your situation. And if you are short on the cash, it may just take you longer to get going as you spread the money over a longer period of time. And that's perfectly fine. You can only do what you can do. So you may have to take it slower in smaller chunks, and it's going to take you longer to get there because you can't spend that much at any one given time. You just got to do the math, do some planning, and figure out how you can make it work. There's always a way to make it work, but it may not be to your liking depending on how much you may have to spread it out. But that's just what it is. So these are the 4 truths, and if you're doing this seriously, you need to know these, you need to understand them, and you need to accept them. You really do. You've got to internalize them, accept them, and say, okay, I understand what it is I'm signing up for here. I understand these parameters, and I'm still determined to make it. And that's kind of the first barrier. As I throw all this cold water on you, does it scare you away? Does it make you think, this is probably not a good idea? Then it's probably not. But if you are still bullheaded and determined to do it anyway, now you're getting close to the attitude and mindset you're going to need to get through. Because it takes one hell of a mindset and one hell of a lot of determination and a great deal of overcoming obstacles, setbacks, all kinds of things. And so you've got to have enough passion and stubbornness and determination to keep getting up every day and doing it again. Even though yesterday may have been very disappointing. And that's half the battle. That is half the battle. Can you do that? Then you've got a shot. So there are my 4 truths. That's all the cold water I have for you. And if you can deal with that, now we can start talking about other things like equipment and rooms and things like this. Good luck to you.